Hello, my name is Joseph Romero. I instead of doing a writing to reflect narrative, which is something I would usually would do, I kind of want to try to get out of my comfort zone and do a create to create a video reflection instead to discuss my experiences with implementing writing to learn in the classroom. And something I will definitely say. Also, I look all formal. I just got off work. I work at Olive Garden, so if you're ever in the area, I got you. No, but something I definitely will say in terms of insight of how this has helped me, not so much this semester because I didn't get a placement this semester, but and I know in last semester I was practicing a lot of this stuff already. Um, Something that I personally did a lot with my students was quick writes and response to texts. And um, I found it to be very helpful and very informative, honestly. Um, I was placed at Menifee Valley Middle School in California, and I just found personally that like quick writes and response to text questions, like on the on one hand, I can see what students were actually thinking if they took it seriously. You know, like some of them they were like, I know when I first started doing it, they just put I don't know, like I don't know, and as an educator, that's like the one I hate the phrase I don't know because I don't know is an easy cop out. It's I give up. And as an educator, you know that is a silly, silly, willy answer. So I don't accept I don't knows no more. Um, so I would like give it back. I told them like I called them over and be like, hey, like I don't like this answer, and you know this is like a cop out answer. Do better, you know. And when I started doing that, and like I guess students started kind of taking more seriously, um, I was able to get a lot of like interesting feedback on some of the content. And as a history teacher, I mean, you know, you don't have to know anything. It's all like history is how you perceive things, you know? That's kind of the crazy part where it's like, yeah, it's historically factual what you're talking about, but it can also be perceived in a different kind of light. It's like art, you know? And I got a lot of critical thinking from quick writes and response to text as well, which I really, really love to see from students because I think critical thinking is definitely one of the biggest things that should be pushed for in schools, especially like on such complex things like history, where it's not black and white, it's gray. So you really have to think hard about like, okay, like what transpired, what happened, you know, like just like because it's human, like it's interesting. And something that also really I found a lot of growth in, I should say, like with my students was their comprehension, their spelling, and their proper sentence structure because I don't know if it's just like the school district or like it's kind of interesting to me because I know when I was and it all depends on the school too because I know the school that I went to it was very much like if the words were wrong, you got it wrong. If sentence structure was wrong, you got it wrong. Like it was very like not hardcore, but it was very like they had high expectations and it felt like the school and this could be applied to this school but also other schools as well. It just maybe it's the teachers, I don't know. But it just felt like they weren't holding kids to a standard that they should be held to. And I feel like as an educator, if we're not holding our students to the highest possible standard that's achievable for them, we're not doing our jobs. Like, frankly, like we should be pushing seventh and eighth graders to spell words correctly, to have high vocab words, and to be able to put sentences together in a coherent way. We shouldn't just accept, I don't know, we shouldn't just accept because they did it. We shouldn't just accept lower cases when it should be upper cases or commas or no commas, no periods. Like these are not only good academic skills, but these are important life skills too. And I've noticed that when I really started, I mean, they hated me for a second. I'm not, I'm not gonna lie, they really like those kiddos. Like the first, like I think 2 weeks I was doing it with them, they just despised me because it was like, oh, you know what I mean. It's like, well, I know what you mean, but you know, I know you. You know, a future employer or a college professor isn't gonna know you and isn't gonna let this slide. College, let's think like, and I would tell them like college, they let a lot of things slide, but depending on your major, if you don't have the right word spelled or you don't have the right sentences in the right spots, you're gonna be in a rough time. So personally, I just found that quick writes and response to text were fantastic means of getting my students together and to one, so I can see what they're kind of thinking, and also two, so they themselves can practice and get that repetition going. Perfect practice makes perfect. So yeah, quick writes and responsive text because of the critical thinking that came with it, from the student feedback that I got from it, just by reading it, um, as well as the reading comprehension, the spelling, and this proper sentence structure. For me, these are the two big things that we've gone over this semester that have really helped me in previous semesters, and it just feels good that um, it just feels good in the sense where things that I was practicing before are kind of being validated now with this course. So it gives me hope. So yeah, so I'm Joseph Romero, and I think this is like the last homework assignment. So have an amazing summer, Professor. And if you're ever in Menifee, in California, Menifee, go to Olive Garden, ask for me. I got you, okay? Have a good one.